Okay, Michelle, thank you. Just 1 second.
All
And
right.
let's have everybody put their name and affiliation in chat. That'd be great. All right, Michelle, yeah, let's get going.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is continuing to enjoy the beginning of spring. It's great to see some new faces here. Good to see you, Dan Sweeney, joining our call. We're excited for today. We just asked if everyone can continue to please put your name and affiliation in the chat. Excited from a great presentation from our dear friend and colleague, Matt Fieldman. So without delaying any more time, I'll pass it to you, Matt, for some updates.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. And good morning, everyone. For those of you, there are some new folks I see on the call. It's great to have you a part of the American Manufacturing Communities Collaborative. This is our weekly call that has been happening for years, 30 minutes with manufacturing communities across the country and our BFFs. These are best friends forever, from NGOs and federal agencies and others who are trying to help us all, strengthen the American manufacturing sector. We've been working on this, for many years, and thanks to all of the leaders around the country who have joined together. AMCC was, designated manufacturing community of practice. We're certainly proud of that, and because and empowered by it to expand on what we've been doing. Having these calls, but doing a lot more of that. And our 3 strategic priorities that we developed in a year-long strategic plan to grow, integrate, measure, and sustain American manufacturing for American sustainable development. So we're on that road thanks to you. This is a weekly check-in. As you know, we sometimes have a presentation. We sometimes do a round robin on a particular topic. Please, when you have questions, when we have a presentation, today's a presentation day. We're lucky enough to have Matt Fieldman put your questions in chat. And we try to keep these presentations short so we can have a discussion and share tools and tactics that can quickly advance the ecosystem of support that manufacturers need across the country. So before I turn it over to Matt for his presentation and that discussion on the workforce in manufacturing, I want to just highlight a couple of things and one other tactic that we have to share, and that's our AMCC update that goes out every week. Thanks to our operations director, David Van Sicklin, who works with me to put this thing out. It's packed with a whole bunch of cool stuff, as you can see in it. Thanks to you, Michelle, and the Century Foundation for last week's presentation about what's happening at HBCU around manufacturing. Super important illustration, I think, of the good hard work that's happening and that needs to continue across the country. So thanks for that, Michelle. So we highlight that in the AMCC update, as we did the cybersecurity briefing that we did on Thursday. And I put in the note on the AMCC update, distribute that, because there are so many. We had CMTC and CREC and Massachusetts Tech Collaborative experts talking about what they do to help their manufacturers get into the game on cybersecurity. We don't want these challenges to intimidate our manufacturers for doing the good hard work that they need to do to make things smarter things that are going to advance the American project. So get that out there. And then in the AMCC update, we also highlight some of the important pieces from our AMCC roadshows. So if we haven't come to your region, please contact us, and we'll try to be going to Ohio. So it's great that we got Matt Fieldman on the call. So that's a nice little transition here to you, Matt. for your presentation today. So Matt Fieldman.
Great. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope it's off to a good start for everybody. So I run the America Works initiative, which is around helping the MEP network in terms of improving our coordination, our cooperation, and our communication as it relates to workforce. And the first thing that my first order of business when I started this 3 years ago was to just get a sense of who's doing what. David, can you mute people, please? Just to get a sense of who's doing what in the MEP network, because NIST MEP nationally really, they had anecdotal information, but there was no qualitative or quantitative actual survey of MEPs to understand who's doing what in workforce. And so this is the third version. We do this annually, and this is the third version of the America Works MEP Survey 2023. David will put the link in the chat. You are welcome to play with this. You can't break it. It's pretty fun. I think you'll find it very interesting. Really the goal is to get you all the best practices you need for your communities, wherever you are. And I think, one of the things I wanted to mention is it's built in Power BI, and it's very interactive, and it's very fun. And you can get, if you want contact information for anyone, you can right click and drill through, and I'll show you that shortly. So let's start. What is this survey? Let's look at the survey overview. And so you can see the different affiliations of MEP centers. We had 46 of the 51 take the survey. I'm still trying to track down the last 5. They refused to take it. And then we had 65 MEPs take it. And that's because some MEP centers like New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio have multiple centers across the state. But you can see who's doing what, or you can see the map and who's taken it. This is built in Power BI, by the way. We have a great consultant that does this work and turns the survey that I put together into this interactive format. So we can see demands for services. So this is a look at what's going on in workforce for MEP centers nationally. And this is telling us when it comes to these areas of workforce, everything from adult apprenticeships to succession planning to youth apprenticeships, what's decreasing, what's increasing, and what's staying flat. And what this is telling me is workforce demand, not surprisingly, is increasing almost across the board. You can see this green and this red, just massive increases. Huge increase in the desire for Industry 4.0 trainings from our clients, 56% basically between the two. Huge interest in trainings over something like 70%. Right. So very, very exciting to see the demand increase. And that's what this proves. One thing I will say, if you click on this, you can filter. So you can filter by the particular MEP center. You can see what each MEP said in each region, or you can look at their affiliation. So if they're part of the state, they're part of the university, because the nonprofits tend to be a little bit more nimble, tend to offer a little bit more services. But if you're, let's say, working with university-based MEPs, you can click on that, and it'll show you just responses from those types. All right, let's look at funding workforce. Okay, where is the money coming from for these different services? So obviously money is important. So you can see client fees is in the dark blue. So if we're looking at apprenticeship support, 17 centers are able to charge client fees, 8 are receiving federal funding, 35 says it's not applicable to our center, they're not doing apprenticeships, 5 are getting philanthropy to help pay for it, and 20 are getting state funding. Why this is so important is a lot of centers say, wow, we'd really like to tap into X kind of funding to support what we're doing, but we don't know how. So, hey, let's look at adult pipeline. 13 centers are able to tap into philanthropy. Again, if I right click on the area of information, I go to drill through and I click respondents, I can see which centers are doing it. So you can see the 9 centers have been able to tap into philanthropy, and you can see the person that you can email to say, hey, how'd you do that? Tell me more about how you got philanthropy to pay for your adult pipeline work. The other thing is just to get a sense of what are the sizes of the staffs in MEPs. I work here at Magnet in Cleveland. We have about 15 people devoted to workforce, so we're kind of one of the bigger centers. But the vast majority of centers have 15 people have nobody, no full-time employees. 2 have half. 14 have just one. So you can see that MEPs by and large have very few staff working on this, which is why we could really invest more in offering more staff to do more work. Let's look at who we serve. So these are the different populations that we serve. You can see, if you click on we serve this population, you can see young professionals, career tech students, women. So you can see the different populations. But what's most important is we have best practices to share. So if you click on that button, you can see we have MEPs with best practices in displaced workers and high school students, middle school students, reentry, et cetera. So if your community is thinking about doing any sort of special programs for any of these audiences, I highly recommend going in, right click, drill through, click on the respondents, and reach out to these centers and say, hey, you're really good at X population, tell me more. They want to share their best. We would like to serve this group in the future. And you can see new immigrants and recent immigrants are where the network wants to go, as well as people with special needs, veterans, et cetera. So this is giving us a sense of skating to where the puck is going. You can also click on these. These are all text-based fields. Which programs or services do you offer? What is working in marketing your workforce services? This one's really interesting. I went ahead and, let's see. No, it's not this one, sorry. It's, what other programs or services do you offer? No, I know what it is. It's a different place. But there's a lot of things to see. You can see this is for services that are not captured by the rest of the survey. So you can see some things around entrepreneurship, some special advertising campaigns. This one's a scholarship program for particularly for Black engineers. So all sorts of different exciting things that are not found. I think I mentioned, oh, right, I missed the most important tab. This is services we offer. These are the different workforce programs, what kind of consulting, what kind of pipeline programs. And again, you can see the best practices, sector partnerships are huge, adult apprenticeships, that sort of thing. You can see different incumbent worker trainings. So who has best practices, lean training, supervisor training, cybersecurity. The whole point of America Works is to increase the effectiveness and the efficiency of the network. So we should be using this data. There shouldn't be any reason to start anything from the ground up. You can see the most popular trainings. We offer this: lean, supervisor training, not surprising, cybersecurity. Career readiness is growing. Customer service training is relatively new. You can also see different workforce tools. If you have a grant to invest in your community and you want to know what tools are being recommended, Tooling U, TWI are the big winners, with less so DDI, Job Quality Toolkit, and some other ones. But you can also see the most popular tools in the network. TWI, there's a lot of partnerships going on with Manufacturing USA institutes, which is exciting. And we've tried out Transfer VR and Valor manufacturing training. So those are the different workforce tools. You can see what apprenticeships are being offered from the different centers. And you can see each center what they're offering apprenticeship-wise. You can also see different certifications being offered through centers. So this is the nuts and bolts, and it's really, really powerful because it gives us a real sense of where this network is across the 50 states and Puerto Rico. This is where we're going as a network. What would you like to learn more about? And this is helpful for me as I'm programming for new webinars. We actually just did one on supervision training, and we're going to do one more. Given how popular this is, we have another one that we just scheduled for May on best practices in supervisor and leadership training. We can see what are the center services better, their current services. We also want to try out new partnerships, and we want to offer more workforce and HR related consulting. What are the obstacles? We just don't have enough staff and we don't have enough funding. So there's a lot of, as you can see, there's a lot of demand. There's not enough supply right now. This one's fascinating. This is programs that work. So you can organize them by category just by clicking on it. And so you can see adult apprenticeships. And here are specific programs and with the number of clients, the certification offered, and what makes the program successful and who to contact about it. Instead of just saying, hey, we're really good at adult apprenticeships, this screen allows you to really see at a granular level what's going on. Employer of choice consulting is exploding across the network, making our clients more attractive places to work. incumbent worker trainings. This goes on and on and on. But again, what are we doing to make our employees as talented and skillful as possible? Industry 4.0 trainings, leadership trainings. You can see this one has 200 clients, boot camp style. Purdue is doing a phenomenal job with this leadership skills for success. So again, there's no reason to ever create something from the ground up. You've got people here, you have me and the files that I have as well. So please take advantage, whether you're inside the MEP network or not, please take advantage of what's here. Lots of different other partnerships as well. Everything from the Uniquely Abled Academy, which focuses on training people with autism for CNC jobs, to a system-wide effort called Coach U, which is designed to work with job coaches at nonprofits and the Workforce Development Board to get them skilled up to do a better job with their clients and offer them more manufacturing careers. You can also see technical and lean training. So again, this is just what's working. It's all self-selected, don't get me wrong, but it's also, things that people are proud of. And last but definitely not least, the 9 areas of DEI. So very early on in the America Works process, we figured out that DEI was going to be very, very important to this. But we needed to start categorizing, because there's a lot of areas. There's a lot of things we can do to diversify our manufacturing workforce better. So we identified 9 areas of DEI, everything from calling it out internally in our center's strategic plan, to serving minority-owned clients through our consulting, training diverse adults, training diverse youth, et cetera, et cetera. There's 9 areas. So this is the first time we've actually said, okay, tell us what you're doing in these areas. So now you can click on, we're focused on this, and we can see what people are actually focused on. And you can say, who's offering DEI consulting to clients. And so now we've got a little bit of data on what each MEP is doing in these different areas. Training for diverse youth, who's exciting. There's not, in some areas, there's just not that much going on yet. Hopefully we can do more with that, but in other areas, there is quite a bit. So that's really exciting, because we've never had any data on DEI in the past across the MEP network. So I believe that is a very fast run through of the different areas. Again, you're welcome to use this at any time. I say all the time, about once a month, I'll get a call from an MEP that says basically, hey, we've never been in this area before, but the governor just called and they said, we need to get into this area. What do you got for us? And I'll be able to send them, here's everything you need for that particular area. One MEP called and said adult apprenticeship. They just got a grant. They didn't even ask for it. Now they're forced to do adult apprenticeship. And so, here's a bunch of resources to help you get off the ground. Others are saying, hey, there's a prison down the street from our MEP center. We have a little bit of money. We really want to work with them. What do you got? So again, I'm here. Please use me as you see fit. And please use this database, because it's hours and hours of work by the network to collect the data, and now it's in one very comprehensive format.
Awesome,
yes,
Matt.
The data is online, and the link should be in the chat. I'll put it in. Yes.
Couple of questions up front, Matt. Thank you very much for this research. Can you say a little bit more about kind of the history and where this is going in terms of expansion? So we just did an AMCC roadshow up in 3 states in New England. And of course, it's important to be engaged with the MEPs, which we were, but we also heard over and over again how MEPs can't get to the universe of manufacturers, and that there are a lot of state players. Connecticut in particular has a very full-throated state government, effort around workforce and manufacturing. How, like, I'm seeing this tool, but getting, more stakeholders to the entire ecosystem, to include, of course, MEPs, starting with that kernel, of course, but it's an expansion question. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have another question after that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so 2 things. So MEPs are part of bigger ecosystems. Every state and region is different. And so the MEP looks different in every state and plays different roles, especially in workforce. You may have very strong community colleges, so the MEP doesn't play in certain areas there. You may have a strong workforce development board, so the MEP partners with that workforce development board. So it looks different in every state. And you and I have talked about how the decentralization of American workforce is a double-edged sword. It's great because we can be very responsive to our local communities. It's very challenging because it means there's no appreciated nationally, that sort of thing. I would love to expand this. I'd be happy to include others. I've had some conversations about including the Manufacturing USA Institutes so that they can participate and we can get their best practices as it relates. As you saw, excuse me, Industry 4.0 training is in high demand. So we need that curricula, and we need to get it out into the MEP network. And so, if states want to use a version of this for their local on a local level, that would be great. And if more players want to participate in this, we can certainly talk about that as well.
Awesome. And then the other question I had was about a subject matter. You talked about DEI and manufacturing, super important, of course, economics and cybersecurity. We had that. What about environmental sustainability in that data? Is that something that folks are getting trained on?
Generally not. Generally that hasn't been, it has been in the past. I remember when I started here at Magnet in 2015, we were just wrapping up an E3 environmental sustainability grant where we worked closely with manufacturers. What we have found is that two things. Number one, a lot of that energy saving work is done through Department of Energy grants and energy assessment centers. And so we haven't played in that space because it exists already. The other thing is that a lot of manufacturers say basically our environmental sustainability is lean. We don't use more power than we have to. We don't make any more waste than we have to. We recycle everything we can because that helps our bottom line. And so a lot of manufacturers will say, because we're so lean, our environmental impact is as small as possible. So could it be more? Could we do more? Absolutely. It's just not seen as a priority in the network right now.
Got it. Well, we have 8 minutes left. This is a great opportunity to ask Matt questions about this tool. I'm wondering if anybody on the call has used it and has any.
And if you have any questions of the work of the database, I can answer them right now. We can answer it live, and you can screenshot what you find. But if you're working on growing any particular area of workforce, this database might be really helpful.
So this is where I start calling on people, right? So let's see. Trish Kelly in California. I see you're on the call. Good morning. Are you guys aware of this tool?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the great presentation. I can't say that I am, but I'm not working as much on our team on the workforce side, but I'm definitely going to bring this back to them because this is a fantastic resource. So thank you very much for the presentation. We have a whole workforce.
No problem. And Nancy, to answer your question, I don't get much in the way of data on this, but anecdotally, I've heard that a lot of centers have used it and found it helpful. Really, it's meant to, in some ways, remove me as the bottleneck. Let if a center knows the area they want to go to, they can go straight to this, find exactly who they should contact in the area, and they don't even need to email me. So that's helpful, I think, in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, I think this is really interesting. Maybe we can continue this thread like with our AMCC board of directors to see how, if at all, AMCC can play with this. Because I'm thinking, I see Carmen Molina Rios in Connecticut is on the call right now. We were just up in Connecticut, and they're one of those states that has a very strong state government focus on the manufacturing sector. And so if this tool were to be expanded to getting other manufacturing workforce stakeholders to put their information and use it or whatever onto the tool, maybe that's an expansion opportunity. I don't know. Carmen, are you guys aware of this tool up there in Connecticut?
Hey, Matt, we have a hand raised as well.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, David.
Yeah, I can answer the, I was not aware of the tool. Hi, everyone's Carmen, and I know you have a hand raised, so I won't take much time, but I would love to learn more about it. And we'll definitely work with our MEP to see how they're using it and how we can leverage the work that the state is doing from a holistic perspective, and the whole full ecosystem, I think, is really important. So thank you for that work. It's really good. Thank you.
And I think it's up in Washington. Is that Shalini up there? I'm not sure.
Yes, this is Shalini. Thank you for that presentation, Matt. Very fascinating information with the MEPs and what you're discovering. I actually haven't digested everything you provided. I thought there was a lot of information there.
Yeah.
But I will say, I feel like maybe we should invite you to come out and present to our EDRs at EDA, or the connect here would be that our most recent notice of funding opportunity has workforce development as one of the targeted areas. It has always been there, but they've really expanded on it in this most recent NOFO, I thought. And I don't know if you see communities with needs that we might be able to play with them. And the EDRs in our agency, they are your regional reps. They really would, I'm sure they're already connecting with, might really spark some thoughts, because we might be able to assist a little. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud. I'm not an EDR, but I'm in the Seattle regional office. So.
I like where you're going with that. There are ways that all of us as practitioners and resources can send our partners to this database and say, hey, it looks like you are working on X, Y, and Z program. Did you check the database to see if someone already has best practices to share? There's so much. There's not enough money and not enough time to go around to consistently build curricula from the ground up. And frankly, and I've seen this in my own work, if you make a mistake, a preventable mistake, that person may drop out of your training program and they won't get a manufacturing career. And that means they'll be stuck at a low-income job. And so this work is really, really important. And
Hey, Matt,
yes.
Let me jump in here because we're almost at time. Could you put your email in the chat so people can follow up directly? Thank you. And as you can also see in the chat, these Monday calls every week are a great place to announce what you've got going on that others can benefit from. And I see to Linda Larson on the screen because she is modeling the behavior by posting there that a Defense Manufacturing Research Symposium is coming up. When is that, Linda?
Yeah, so on Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain to 12:30 Mountain, we are hosting a 100% virtual symposium where we're having AFWorks, AFRL, NETL, and 6 federal research entities are presenting what programs they're looking for research assistance from the research community. So I put in how to register for it. Again, we will record it and it'll be available, but if you can join us, that'd be great.
Thank you, Linda. Any other announcements by anyone? You can this is a very informal place. That's the benefit of these AMCC weekly calls. It's great to have so many people on here every week sharing best practices.
Hey, just something really quick point of process from us. We did send out this new calendar invite for the AMCC weekly calls. I can tell by everyone on the call that at least most of us got it. But if there's anyone at your organization who didn't, please let me know and I'll be able to forward that along. So thanks in advance for that.
Great. And I see another note here, another event in the chat. Thank you for that. Let me just turn it back to you, Michelle, to close it out, unless there's anybody else has something to share.
That sounds great to me. Well, thank you so much, Matt. I was fascinated on the deep work and just seeing what has come up from the surveys and the priorities. So we're looking forward to meeting again this same time next week on Monday, and we're wishing everyone an incredible week and really hope you check out the survey that Matt has been doing on the MEPs. It was really great. So thank you again, Matt, and wishing everyone a great week. We'll see you back same time, same place.
Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.